Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast, the show committed to helping you dismantle the destructive mindset programs keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance so you can get out of your own way and play to your potential. My name is Paul Salter. I'm a high-performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach with 16 years of experience helping thousands of individuals like you get unstuck. This podcast features a collection of solo episodes, conversations with Scratch and Plus handicap golfers, and master classes with top experts in the performance psychology space. The one goal? To help you make playing to your potential a habit. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow golfer. Welcome back to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist, and today's episode is all about updates. And of course, the majority of this conversation is going to be centered around bringing you up to speed on the last 90 days of my personal quest to drop my handicap to a 5.0. I'm going to share the challenges, of course, the results, the roadblocks, the key takeaways, the upgrades, the evolutions. But before I do that, I have a handful of other updates I want to share with you. And big shout out to some future guests that are coming to the show, some first timers and some repeat guests. If you didn't check out last week's episode number 82, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Josh Nichols once again, his second time on the show, having a candid conversation about mental toughness, the necessity of coaching if you truly want to achieve your goals, and a really vulnerable conversation on golf burnout. Kudos to Josh. If you haven't checked out that episode, make sure you add it to your queue. But in the coming months, we have another returning guest, second time on the show. Wicked smart Michael Leonard is coming back. Michael is one of my favorite individuals in the golf mindset space. He's an incredible golfer. He's incredibly bright, and his ability to articulate what it takes to break 80. He's got not one, not two, but now 3 books on all things tactical aspects from a mental and technical aspect to help you break 80 and play better, both in tournaments and otherwise. Can't recommend those books enough. But we've got some first timers too. We've got Rick Sessinghaus from Flow Code, Colin Morikawa's mindset coach since he was 8 years old. He'll be joining me on the show. We've got Evan Singer, all aboard the par train, making his debut. We've got Carl Morris from Mind Caddy. We've got Debbie O'Connell from Golf Positive. And we've got another returning guest who seems to be a crowd favorite. Scott Fawcett of Decade Golf. Of course, you know who he is. He needs no introduction. But Scott's kind enough to join me for an upcoming conversation where our focus will be all things Q school preparation. So if you or one of your loved ones, your son, is about to enter that phase of his golfing career, of her golfing career, if you have questions that you want me to pose to Scott, someone who has coached golfers through Q School, someone who has participated in Q School, send them my way at the Golf Hypnotherapist on Instagram. Again, that whole conversation with Scott will be on all things Q School. Now, the last couple weeks, I have been rewatching. I've been doing a couple things. I've been rewatching and re-listening to material. I've been rewatching The Last Dance, which is one of, if not the best sports documentaries ever created. It highlights the 97-98 Bulls' last dance, the last season with their core intact, Phil Jackson at head coach, and of course really chronicles Michael Jordan's rise and gives you a raw inside look like never seen before into his mindset. And I've also been listening to for, I don't know, maybe the 5th, 6th time, the book Winning by Tim Grover. And if you're not familiar with this book, fucking add it to your queue right now in Amazon, add it to Audible. This was the first book I ever read. I've read it and I've listened to it, that I felt like someone was speaking directly to me. Winning, what I believe the subtitle is more or less The Unforgiving Race. It's just such a topic that not only speaks to me, it's one that's not talked about enough. The dark side of chasing your goals, being obsessed with the outcome, and learning how to relentlessly flex your I don't give a fuck muscle in the pursuit of your potential. And you're going to begin to notice an evolution here on the Scratch Golfer's Mindset podcast. I pride myself in two things, maybe three things specific to this podcast. Number one is I have no desire to be like any other golf mindset, golf psychology podcast out there. I want to ask my guests the questions that they're not being asked elsewhere. I don't want to bring a guest on and ask them the same 5 to 10 questions they've been asked on every other podcast. I also aspire to be raw and vulnerable with my journey because as I've shared here multiple times before, whether it's entrepreneurship, golf, or even poker, which I have a passion and deep connection to, each of those are simply mirrors of your own personal development, your own pursuit of your potential, your journey towards self-actualization. And I can only best help you if I share my long list of imperfections, shortcomings, and my own destructive mindset programs. So there's an element of wanting to be different, bringing a completely different coaching, non-golf coaching and experience to the show. There's this desire to be vulnerable. And there's desire just to talk about the topics that aren't talked about enough. We can sit here all day, every day and talk about gratitude, pre-shot routine, after round reports. And we do touch on those things because they are important pieces of the puzzle. But we need to go deeper and deep below these surface level topics that make us feel good and give us a little rah-rah sense of inspiration. And they work for, a round or two until it fades, until those destructive mindset programs continue to rear their ugly heads. We need to start addressing the fear that underlies why the fuck you continue not to do what you know you need to do to achieve your potential. And I'm sharing that candidly with you because I'm also sharing it candidly with myself. And that was really part of the theme of my evolution during Q2 of 2025, specific to my golf game and honestly outside of my golf game as well. A return to authenticity, a reconnection with that fucking competitive fire that has never been stoked as much as it has been the last couple of months. It's a return to authenticity. It's a return to emotional intelligence, using emotion. Again, nothing more than energy and motion as fucking fuel, drive, power to push on, to block out the noise and negativity, to focus on what matters most, to get the job done. So you'll notice here, we're going to go even deeper. We're going to go a bit darker. These upcoming episodes are going to challenge you. They're going to make you think differently. They might rub you the wrong way. They might fucking hurt. But we got to go there. And really, this message is for you. If you're listening and you consider yourself that recreational golfer, goes out to have a good time, and then spends so much time feeling sorry for yourself, frustrated, disappointed, this game's impossible, I can't get any better. Look, if you want to step into your unique next level of success, drop into that next lower bracket of a handicap, you've got to change your identity. You can't change unless you change. To be better, in the words of Mike Leonard, you need to do better. And I think I've learned over my years of mistakes, failures, and spending time on, so-called rock bottoms, to achieve the light, you need to be able to handle the darkness. And that means looking within and addressing your darkness, confronting it, owning it, learning how to work with it, not let it work over you. So more to come there. And I'm just looking at my notes here, what else I wanted to share. The other topic that I'm going to begin digging into more deeply with my guests. It's something I've really been ruminating on lately, chewing on positively, obsessing, doodling, thinking, mind mapping. When you hear the word mindset, what does that mean to you? We're always talking in this unique golf mindset, golf psychology space or performance psychology, on and off the course. Like, you got to have a strong mindset, mentally tough. But what does that mean? What does that encompass? You might immediately think of words of attitude, focus, resiliency, grit, patience, gratitude, persistence. But what does it really mean? And we're going to explore that with my handful of upcoming guests and just get a variety of different perspectives to better empower you, not only with this knowledge that you can craft your own working definition or this fluid concept of what it means to be mentally tough, but really the outcome behind this is to better empower you to fucking train to be mentally tough. And as I've done, I feel like I just continue to just pour into going deep and inward to some dark places here. Dark with the intention of just confronting some harsh truths and realities about myself, where I'm going, what I want and don't want in life. And fitness, exercise, that's the gateway to next level success. You want a stronger mindset? You better be relentlessly kicking ass in the gym. You better be sweating, bleeding, on the verge of breaking at times, and strategically, diligently, with longevity and safety and sustainability all in play. I'm getting a little hyperbolized here. I'm catching myself. I'm reining it back in. But listen, like, if you want to strengthen your mindset, you have got to have a ruthless commitment to your exercise regimen, period. Golf specific and non-golf specific elements of your fitness routine have got to be a priority. Because think about it. Every time you show up for a well-designed workout, you are intentionally putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, mentally, physically, emotionally. You are going to have to confront the inner bitch voice that wants you to quit, take shortcuts, cheat, half-ass it, or throw in the towel. And getting micro exposures to that every day, or 4 to 6 times per week, and winning those battles helps you stand up and prepare to fight when you need to wage and win fucking war. I'm going to calibrate. I'm going to tone it down a notch. I'm going to pull it back in. That's what's ahead. That's what's coming. I'm so grateful you're here. And hey, listen, if you're enjoying this podcast, I need you to show it some love. Take those 30 seconds, a rating, a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You may think it doesn't mean anything. It's not important. It means a big fucking deal to this podcast, how it's ranked on Apple, Spotify. It's what literally gives me an opportunity to convince some of these big names who are incredibly busy with their time, serving the world, leaving their impact, to spend 60 to 75 minutes with me, because they know it's going to have a great reach and reach a lot of cool, committed fucking individuals like yourself. So I ask you again for the 1,000th time, leave that rating, leave that review. It goes a long way. And with that said, not that I need any more coffee, but I'm going to take a sip. And we're going to reflect and recap Q2, April, May, and June of 2025. And if you recall, at the end of March, or really just all of Q1, my handicap hovered between 21 and 23. I think 21.2 or 21.6 was the lowest. It went down, it went up, and then it kind of just plateaued. And in Q2, I logged 17 rounds, 6 of which were only 9 holes. And I'm going to share all the details in the stats, but I want to take you back to April 27th first. April 27th was a Sunday, and I had just wrapped up the 3rd day of my first ever member here in Tampa at Tampa Palms. And unfortunately, I did not get to stay for the shootout. I had already committed to a breathwork workshop, which, by the way, really fucking cool, powerful. Vitality. If you ever get a chance to do it, I don't know if he's touring much more. Can't recommend it enough. So I literally finished two matches on Sunday, grabbed lunch, and I jettisoned off to like a 4.5-hour breathwork experience. And then Monday hit. Monday's, a million miles an hour. And the whole weekend, the reason I share that is it took a couple days for me to really slow down and reflect on the weekend, because during the weekend, I continued to have a story that I was there for the experience. Oh, this is my first member. I don't even really know what a member entails. Like, I'm just here for the experience. I'm here for the camaraderie. I'm still new to the club. I joined in January when I had a 6-week-old son, so I wasn't there that much. I'm still meeting people. I'm trying to meet people. A friend of mine invited me, got me in last second, paired me with a random guy who happened to recently join the club as well. Great dude. Shout out, Pat. But the story in my mind was camaraderie, experience, like no pressure, no expectation, just play, have fun, shake some hands, exchange some stories, make some memories. It is what it is. And as I look back There were some highlights, and I detailed this in, I don't know, one of the episodes here on the podcast and on an edition of the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter. There were some highlights. There were some solid rounds of 9. There were some shit rounds of 9. There were some heartbreaking moments. There were some deep, dark moments of frustration. But one of the prevailing themes alongside that story that I was there for fun and the experience was just how quick I was to make an excuse or justify lack of a pre-shot routine execution, lack of focus. And I kept repressing that inner competitive fire in me. And I think what really stood out, and it took me about 72 hours to really confront and acknowledge this, was walking out that Sunday in a hustle. All of the points had already been totaled. They're placard on the big board in front of everybody outside by the putting green. My partner and I got last place in our flight. And I think in that moment, I think I just like, no big deal. Like, whatever, fun time, great people. But it just started to eat at me. It really pissed me off. And I shied away from confronting and feeling that anger, that frustration, that disappointment, that embarrassment. And I let that fuel turn into something productive. Because since that moment, I have not looked back. 17 rounds in Q2. 6 rounds of 9. I set a new low at Tampa Palms for 18, shooting a 91. And again, if you're not familiar with Tampa Palms, it is a tight, hard course. I will leave it at that. I set a new low on 9 holes at Tampa Palms, shooting a 42. I shot a new lifetime low from the blue tees, 87, at Heritage Isles. And I shot a new lifetime low for 9. I shot a 38. And those were from the white tees. But it still took 38 shots on 9 holes, and I was fucking stoked. Also irritated I didn't have the capacity to play 18 to see where that round could have ended up. So during Q1, my average scores at Tampa Palms were between 99 and I had 117. That was not a pretty day. During Q2, it was between 91 and 98 with one blimp. I had a 101 playing an injured round a couple of weeks ago. I've got a nagging glute hip issue I'm working through that was massively flared up that morning. All the ibuprofen in the world wasn't helpful. My handicap low, the low that I actually literally finished with because I squeezed a round in on June 30th for Q2, I was able to drop from that 21 to 23 range down to a 15.8. We are fucking trending. And I'm going to be honest, there was like a 6-week stretch there where I was just what felt like on a heater, round after round, no matter 9 or 18. It was new low, new best, more pars, couple more birdies. It was incredible. My 6 rounds of 9 holes were 48, 46, 45, 43, 42, and then that aforementioned 38 from the white tees at a local muni course. So there was this 6-week hot streak. And it felt like I was just going lower and lower and lower, and the sky was the limit. That 5 handicap would have been there in 30 days. And we're going to come back to that and kind of what some of the battles I faced internally were as a result of that hot streak. But I want to talk about some of the changes I made. First and foremost, the only swing change I made was I wrote initially it was a faster takeaway. And although that's technically true, I think the better description is being more deliberate with my takeaway. One of the issues I was facing was just a little too half-assed slow on my takeaway, and it was just allowing too much time to think. And my miss was always my club face being really open, and it was a horrible slice or push right, or even a hosel every now and then. And that was fucking embarrassing. So this intention, this vigor, this deliberateness in my takeaway, I had just been crushing the fucking ball. Now, it's also candidly taken a little toll on my body, and I'm learning now how to dial that takeaway deliberacy speed back, using it when needed. I don't need a full swing with every club. You know that better than I do, especially with a wedge in my hand, so I'm learning. The other probably perhaps biggest change I made is I love Melvin. Melvin was my first swing coach, or real first swing coach. And the only challenge in working with Melvin is it was like a 45-minute drive to that course because I moved since I initially met him. And then it was a 2-hour lesson, which I loved, and then another 45 minutes home. But you want to get there 30 minutes early, if not more, to warm up. And it was just eating away into too much of my day. Q2 happened to also be a phenomenally busy season for me in my professional life. So it's just, I didn't have the hours. So I made the decision to link up with the head pro at Tampa Palms. KK, big shout out. I've had a handful of lessons with him. And the impact he has had on my putting and my short game, specifically chipping, pitching around the green within, 25, 30 yards. I don't want to say night and day difference, but the understanding and the consistency, especially putting, I have been fucking good. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So grateful for his teachings. But really, it's just the club is 15 minutes away. I can get there. I can have a lesson with him. I can practice. And in addition to, having a new coach working alongside me, I'm putting in much more time practicing on the course. I'm going and having a dedicated putting night, a dedicated chipping pitching, and a dedicated 1 or 2 sessions at the range, more repetitions, more time under tension, as they say in the exercise world, to make the muscle grow, to flex my swing consistency here on the course. I'm putting in a lot more time. And the other minor adjustment I've made is I've been very intentional in reducing the amount of time spent over the ball. Quicker. Up there, the pre-shot routine, I am practicing that routine every shot when I am on the range, so it feels more natural. It is a little quicker than usual, and it's trending in the right direction. And I'm very pleased with the changes. And, of course, the mindset change. Really the one in the works. That as a, for lack of a better description, recovering nice guy people pleaser, is learning how to consistently, strongly flex the I don't give a fuck muscle more regularly. It's going dark, as I've alluded to so far in this conversation. It's creating fuel to focus, to rise to the occasion, to win. And, one of the things I took from that round I shot 38, that lifetime low, was I was playing with a colleague, a buddy of mine, and we got paired with a stranger, someone we didn't know, about my age. I think he said he was 30, 31, a little younger than me. And he mentioned he played golf in high school. And I was first to tee off there, and I just fucking duck hooked my tee shot. Fortunately, it was a muni, it was open, so I was just on the other fairway. And I will say, I had about 225 to the center of the green. I piped my 5-wood onto the green, 2-putt par, great start. But I remember after that drive, he made a comment, "Oh, dude, it's no big deal. That happens. We're just here to have fun." And it irked me internally. I was just kind of like, fuck that. I'm going to measure myself against you. You played high school golf, and he blasted a good drive. But it was that kind of just creating something out of nothing that fueled me, kept me focused. And this is something I used to do in my competitive powerlifting days, my competitive tennis days, when I was playing fucking competitive pickleball at the retirement center near me. I need fuel. I need something to drive me to focus because winning is so addictive for me. And I know many of you can relate to that. So I've been really reconnecting with that side of me, finding something to grab and extract from nothing to give me that fuel, that edge, that focus. And it's something that Michael Jordan did so incredibly well. And there's that scene in The Last Dance where I believe, and I might miss a detail or two as I recount this, but essentially there's a young rookie, highly touted, who's having a great game. He's drafted by the Wizards. The Bulls and the Wizards are playing back-to-back nights. And in that first game, Michael Jordan's just off. He's having an off night. And the rookie goes off for 30-something points. And Michael tells this story that the rookie, after the game, puts his arm around him and he's like, "Good game, Mike," or something like that. And then Mike comes off, and I don't remember how many points he had in the second of the back-to-back, but that guy had very few. Michael might probably had 40 or 50. Turns out Jordan made that whole thing up. It never actually happened. But it was just an example of how he took something or he created something to give him that fuel to lock in, to focus. And that resonates with me. It's something that I've shied away from in the past for a long time. I've, for whatever reason, repressed that part of me, wanting to be liked, wanting to be nice. And I've just reached a point where I'm like, fuck it. That ain't me. It ain't helping me. And it feels good to let that side out. And if you relate to what it is I'm sharing, this is your invitation. Give yourself permission to befriend the dark side, permission to win, permission to be the competitor. You know, so many of my clients right now face a very similar dilemma. They've got a weekly foursome. And I get it. You're there for fun. You're there for recreation. Maybe you're there to de-stress after a tough week. But if you're that same guy who's shooting mid to high 80s, occasionally low 90s every week, and you have all these grand aspirations of regularly shooting in the 70s, but every time you show up on Saturday morning, you're lackadaisical, you're fun, you're not really focused, guess what? That's where you're going to stay. You can't change unless you change. And I am not here suggesting that you need to go dark to play better. But I am suggesting you need to find a way to better focus. And what you're doing now ain't working. So if you want to change, you need to change. And you need to start looking within to identify what helps you intentionally craft that strategic tunnel vision, to remain focused. What pisses you off? What dials you in, keeps you focused, fresh? I don't know. But I know what it is for me, and I cannot wait to unleash that in the coming rounds, months, and the remainder of the year moving forward. The mindset-specific challenge I have most faced is getting off to a hot start and allowing myself to time travel into the future. There have been a handful of rounds where I started par. There was one round in particular, 2 rounds, I think even. I might have started par. And essentially I kind of, in my mind, okay, I'm shooting par today. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. So clearly I have gotten away, and I end up having not a blow up hole, but a double makes the scorecard, or maybe 2 doubles and 9 holes appear on the card. And yeah, it's really for me that overconfidence and excitement crossing a threshold, becoming counterproductive, that I have to learn to better rein in, better breathe, better reclaim control, recalibrate, if you will. So that's what I'm working on into Q2. Other changes from an equipment standpoint, I finally hung up the early 2000s Nike driver. And I invested in a driver club fitting. And I purchased the TaylorMade QI35, and I'm absolutely loving it. Just in my Golf Tech session alone, there was an addition of 40 yards. So that was fucking cool. I've been working very closely with Sean Dykoff, episode 40, Fairway Performance, for all things golf-specific fitness. If you are truly serious about becoming the best golfer you can be, not only is an exercise regimen essential, you need a golf-specific regimen. Sean is the guy. I continue to put yards on. I had quite a few drives this last weekend, carry about 270, so we're trending. I also purchased a 56, which some of you are like, well, dude, why didn't you have that? I had a 52 and a 60 for a long time. And it's just, priorities, learning, understanding when and how I would need the difference. And finally, finding a steal of a deal at Golf Tech and purchasing a 56. So a lot of practice lately has been with the 56. And by lately, I mean the last 2 weeks. It's only about 2 weeks old. As I mentioned, somewhat of a glute hip injury has been nagging me the past couple of weeks. I took a week off in Costa Rica, as I detailed previously, and I think I just came back a little too intense in terms of weight, in terms of even total volume in the workouts that first week. So I've been doing an incredible job ice bathing daily, stretching, foam rolling. It come and goes when it flares up, but that takeaway kind of irritates it. So with some of the longer clubs, it's not a fun feeling after a few repetitions. So I'm working through that, but we're working, we're grinding, we're diligent, we're patient, we're persistent. So what does all this mean for Q3? Well, I think we need to really highlight the biggest learning lessons from Q2 to understand where we're going for Q3. First and foremost, time under fucking tension, reps on reps on reps. That's the name of the game. Getting those reps in, being more diligent in managing my schedule, prioritizing this practice in my schedule. I have been doing a putting ladder exercise every day at home. 3 putts from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 every day. But more time on the range, more time on the short course. At a local club here, the short course, the Tampa Palms, is in the process of building. Hallelujah. More practice, practice, practice. Second, the big learning lesson here is just an identity makeover. I had to kill the guy in Q1 to evolve into the guy in Q2, and I look forward to killing the Q2 version of me and evolving into the Q3 version of me. It'll be a little bit darker. He'll have a stronger I don't give a fuck muscle. He will play to win at all costs. And he will rise to the occasion. That's the mindset, the attitude, the energy that will be brought into every single round in Q3. Areas of focus. I need to play par 5s better. I mean, holy fuck. I'm not playing par 5s well. My scoring average is over 6 as of late, and that's terrible. I always seem to find an OB on a par 5 as of late. Or the old version of me did. Let me correct myself. So we're working on that. More consistency off the tee box, especially as I continue. That driver is still relatively new, maybe 2 months at this point. So just need more reps, more practice, especially being able to quickly and confidently adapt throughout a round between a 5-wood, a 3-wood, and a driver. My 5-wood, I just hit really, really well. 3-wood, it's night and day still, it seems like. Driver is trending in the right direction. I know all of that's mindset and technical aspects, so both of those are being worked on. And then otherwise, I need more competition, more money games, more actual events. We have a men's golf association here at the club, so I'll be doing a couple of those this quarter. Trying to play with more strangers. I had quite a few solo rounds this past quarter, which are fun and enjoyable. Until they're not. There's definitely an anger that I have experienced during some of those solo rounds of just disgust and disbelief with some of my decision making or shot making. All learning lessons. But it's play. It's keep playing under pressure. Let's keep practicing. It's grit. It's persistence. It's commitment. All of which will be executed. And I'm so thankful I get to share this journey with you. And hey, thank you for letting me ramble, letting me share an inside look as to what's going on in my head. What's going on in my life, where I'm headed, what I'm working on. I have no idea what my handicap will be at the end of Q3. But I can guarantee, you see all those rhymes? That was cool. That I will bust my ass to drop it as low as I can. And I will start performing to the best of my ability when it matters most, when I need it most. The scores will continue to drop. The confidence will continue to evolve, strengthen. And I can't wait to listen to this again in 3 months to see how far we've come. So, hey, thank you. I appreciate you. Again, 30 seconds, leave a rating or review. It goes a long way. It supports me. I thank you so much for listening every week. It means the world. I can't believe we're at 83 episodes already. Number 100 will be here before we know it. Thank you again. Have a great fucking day. Hit them straight this weekend, and I'll catch you in the next episode.